Hi, this is Rachel Bella, and this is my case study for AEP 855. All right, section 1, summary and the facts. And I'm sorry, I don't know where to put my picture because it's going to cover some stuff up. All right, what we know. We know that students James and David were escorted by school police to Assistant Principal Inman's office after a teacher in their homeroom classroom saw James hand David something. James has known behavior issues, fighting, tardiness, lots of things like that. David, on the other hand, has no behavior issues, is an honor student in the band, like no issues there whatsoever. David is handcuffed and arrested by school police after being in possession of brass knuckles, and they are a prohibited weapon on school property. James is also then arrested after he took full responsibility, saying the knuckles were his and he had intent to use them after school. Both the boys, per district policy, are to be expelled for no less than 45 days and required to attend the district's DAEP program. When called, David's mother is extremely unhappy as this is completely out of the blue and something that she has never experienced before with her child, whereas James's mother, not surprised, not upset, been here, done that a million times. Assistant Principal Inman does not sign the forms for David to be expelled, but he does for James. All right, the legal or ethical issues. Brass knuckles on school property, it's a violation of school rules and policy, and it's a felony. No students were harmed as they were not used. Principal Inman not signing the expulsion papers for David directly violates district policy when following events. So he's not following protocol and following the policy that should be taken with this situation. Assistant Principal Inman also knows that David was innocent as they were not his knuckles and he had no intent to use them, which puts him in a difficult spot in this gray area. Brings up the ethical issue side of things where do you do the right thing and follow the policy, which results in an innocent student being punished, or do you not follow the procedure and go against the policy and the protocol and to help the student who is innocent? So quite the ethical dilemma he's in there. Assistant Principal Inman does not want to follow district protocol and suspend David for having a prohibited weapon, brass knuckles, on him on school property because James admitted the knuckles are his and he intended to use them after school. All right, so synthesize the facts. The people that we know that are involved: Assistant Principal Inman, David, James, both the parents, and the Director of Secondary Education, as he sent an email to Assistant Principal Inman. We don't know if the principal's involved, and we don't know if David's parents got legal representation or reached out to anyone in that sort of direction of things. Where it took place, we know that it was at Rocket Junior High. There's around 900 students in this school, and there's a range of demographics for where the students come from, as the bus brings students in from the south side. Program. It was in the general education classroom in the junior high, and it now also involves the DAEP program, or the disciplinary alternative education program at the school. All right, section 5. So reviewing and prioritizing the information. So Assistant Principal Inman not writing up David would result in the clear breach of board policies and an official reprimand on Mr. Inman's personal record at minimum. David's parents, board members, as well as the principal all have an important stake in the outcome. Board members have not been briefed on the situation yet, and we also don't know but can assume that Assistant Principal Inman looped in the principal, so he's up to date on the situation. We could look more into the repercussions that could happen if Mr. Inman did not choose to write up and follow through with suspending David, but we do have enough information to make a decision. All right. Options. Option 1, follow district protocol. You know that. Sorry about my picture. I don't know where to put it. We know you write up David, even though you know that he was innocent and just got kind of pulled into this situation. But you write him up, you move on. Number 2, you don't expel David. You know then you'll at least get a reprimand, and that could result in a lot more because you don't really know what could happen after that. Quit is option number 3. You're done. There's too many gray areas. You disagree with policies and loopholes, and you don't agree with this, and you quit. You're done. Option 4, present to the board. Put together a presentation and present the situation to the board members. Option 5, advise David's mother to lawyer up. Tell her, this isn't right, this isn't fair. Go ahead and get some representation and bring it to the board and make a big stink about it. So evaluating these options. Following district protocol. Pro of this, you followed the policy, you did what you were supposed to, you followed the rules, you played exactly by that playbook, and you did a great job with that. Con, it's not fair to David in a sense that he was not represented equally. He didn't get to speak. He didn't get a chance to advocate for himself in any sort of way. And as an innocent person in the situation, he is now reprimanded. Option number 2, a pro of not expelling him, is that David's innocent and he then's not punished for something he didn't do. A con, your personal position could be at risk and you are breaking district policy. Option number 3, quit. Pro, you don't have to deal with the situation. You're out of there. Not your problem. Con, nobody would be there to advocate for David and you would be out of a job. Option number 4, a pro of presenting to the board. You'd be able to speak for all involved. Others would also have an opportunity to have their voice heard and all parties would be represented. Con, they might not agree with you and the board could still say, tough cookies, David, you're still going to have these consequences and they could be as extreme as the policy states. He should be expelled and the DAEP program. Option 5, advising David's mother to lawyer up. A pro is his side would be heard and he'd be represented and would have a good chance of probably winning and coming away with at least lesser of punishment. Con, lawyering up is not something that districts like and want to happen, and if they found out that you suggested it to the mother, you would definitely be in some hot water yourself and could be facing some serious consequences. Best option. Moving forward, I think option number 4 is the best option to present to the board. It allows all stakeholders to be fully involved and briefed on the situation and for all the facts to be shared with all of those stakeholders. It also allows for discussion around the gray area with the policy and the opportunity to potentially change the policy and adjust it so issues like this don't happen in the future. And it would allow for everyone to advocate for themselves or for you to advocate for them, those that were involved, and have a chance to voice themselves and their thoughts. All right, implementing the decision. To successfully implement this, you would have a number of things to do. One being a detailed report created to communicate to all the stakeholders the facts around the incident so they can know exactly what happened, what day, what time, when, where, how it went down, what was said, all of that, and providing that with them so they can be fully aware of the situation before discussing everything. Also, you would want to create a presentation to the board so they can be in the loop with everything around the incident and what happened, the facts surrounding that, as well as the policies in which they are breaching. You could also ask David's mother to speak in the meeting if she wants to speak out and advocate for her child, or if David was comfortable, he could advocate for himself. And then being prepared to speak around the gray areas, so knowing these policies forwards and backwards to specifically address and pinpoint the area in which the gray area is, where the ethical dilemma presented itself. So then ideally working towards editing and changing these policies so this gray area is not there and the situation does not repeat itself. And then I would also send out a policy refresher for all parents in the school. David's mother said that she was not familiar with this policy when this happened, so therefore we could assume that other parents do not understand or know that this situation or these policies are in place, so reminding parents. And then I would also do an all-school assembly to remind students about the policies, prohibited items, consequences, and just a refresher on that. And then my reflection moving forward, this obviously helps to really see how difficult and sticky situations can be as a leader when it comes to making the right choice or the ethical choice. Like you're just kind of stuck and there's no real winning. Someone's going to be unhappy somewhere. But I think that's just realizing that that's part of leadership and part of being that leader, and just learning how to rely on things like your moral compass and things like that to help guide you in these decisions, and just being aware of all of those involved and making sure that everyone has a chance to speak their piece, and making sure all stakeholders and everyone stays involved. And that concludes my presentation.